Hi, my name is Erin Bailey, and I'm a marketing account executive with Savvy Agency. And Savvy Agency is an integrated marketing agency that specializes in website design and development, brand strategy, and social media marketing. So I'm excited to be here and talk to you over recording a little bit about some of the tools that I use to be successful in my day-to-day work. So a little bit about me. I've been with Savvy for about 2 years now after making a career change from hospitality to marketing. In the hospitality world, I was running social media pages, so there was some overlap there. And I do have a journalism degree that I was able to use and push towards content writing a little bit. But really, it was just my passion, and I knew I wanted to learn more, and finally was able to get the opportunity to do so and further my knowledge with Savvy Agency. So my day-to-day typically is different all the time, but I do work with our clients mostly on social media marketing, as well as some video editing and graphic design work, and a lot of content writing. So blogs, websites, things like that. So let's go over some of the tools that I use to be successful. So the first thing that we utilize when we get a new client is going to be this social cue document. Now, this isn't necessarily a software tool, and this is something that we have come up with that works for us. It's definitely something that could be customized within your organization, but this is generally what we do to gather all of the preliminary information for new clients. So as you can see, we have just general company name, your website. We're asking for any social media accounts that they currently have. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and then Google My Business. Google My Business is a Google tool that allows you to have a free business listing. If you've ever Googled an organization before, you've definitely seen someone's Google My Business profile. On the right-hand side of the screen, it's what comes up when you search a certain business. Go ahead and try it, because that is a great free space to advertise your organization. Generally, people do have a Google My Business profile, whether they've claimed ownership of it or not is definitely a case-by-case basis. You have to confirm like business hours, website, general information to be able to claim the business, and then make updates for things when your business hours change, when you're offering promotions and things like that. So we do go through, we ask what profiles they already have, and do a general analysis about whether or not these profiles are active, how many followers do they have, how long have they had the profiles going, are they have they spent a lot of time working on them, or is this a really new feature to the business, things like that. Then we go ahead and decide our goals. So these are some sample goals that we have come up with, whether it's to increase brand awareness. That's always a popular one that we find with people, because if the organization is just getting started or maybe trying to promote themselves in a new way, increasing brand awareness is obviously number one on the list of goals. So we also have become an industry thought leader, increase lead generation. Obviously, that's just getting more customers or inquiries in a service, and then increase in community engagement. So getting the community to engage with you on social and public spaces so that it promotes trust within the brand. So those are just some of the goals that we have for social media. Of course, everyone is in a unique situation, so it's definitely not one size fits all, but these are the conversation starters that we have with new clients. And then we kind of go through, now, who is your audience, right? Because every organization and every business has a targeted audience, whether that's a certain age group of people, maybe more female than male, maybe it's a geographical location of certain people. It can all be broken down into a target audience. And depending on what your product or service is, that will vary, of course. So this is why it's a super important question for us to ask, and who is going to be the people that we are targeting and becoming leads for you, whether it's through purchases or scheduling services. So that's a super important question that we want to ask. And then we take a look at influencers and resources in the industry. For us, for Savvy, I would say a resource in our industry is the American Marketing Association. And that's a good one that has a lot of interesting resource articles and studies and things like that. That's something that I would write there. And then that brings us to associations and organizations that are affiliated with your business. So are you a member of any chambers or any Rotary clubs? Or are you involved with any yearly conferences or any fundraisers or things like that. So these are all things we're trying to get a full background look at the organization on a whole. So we're going to talk competition, who's also doing something similar, giving a service or selling a product that's similar, and how can we differentiate you? What's different about that organization over the competition? These are all things that give us a background look on the organization. And finally, we come to get into the nitty gritty of the service areas of all what an organization is promoting or selling. Content development, so trending topics and comments, social media forums, blog topics, news, publications, newsletters, and events and speaking engagements. These are all things that we would put out on social media to really just give a full picture of what the organization is all about. So resharing from other organizations, posting blogs from the organization's website onto their social pages to drive that traffic back to the website, creating a newsletter and then sharing the newsletter on social. It's all integrated. And the goal of having all these different forms of content is just to be able to provide unique forms of content for the viewer on social media. So instead of just making a post with a photo and a comment about something that you're selling, we can put out the newsletter, we can show the blog, we can do a video from your YouTube channel and put it on social media. The goal is just to have really unique and engaging content for the viewer. All right, we've laid the groundwork. Now we're ready to start putting this into practice. So we do break this down into a process. Not every process is this way. This is, of course, just a sample, and everyone has a different unique situation. But generally, in step one, we'll go ahead and create meetings and do some planning work and lay out everything on this document. In step two, we'll go ahead and create the content and get it all prepared to show the organization, highlight the goals, how we're going to achieve them, things like that. And then in step three, we get the approval for these things. 4, we implement. So we start creating content for further out on social media and continuing to build the marketing plan as needed and adjusting and kind of acting as a pilot phase so that we can see and try to start to predict some of these trends. Then 5, we're going to go ahead and build up engagement. So building followers, attract target market, following some background analytics to see how things are going in these first couple of weeks and get some data and connect with influencers in your industry. This will include daily monitoring, retweets and thanking and liking when people are engaging with your content, responding to mentions or direct messages if they do come through, and then building that audience, doing a following campaign and targeting specific people that we want to engage with us. Finally, in the last step, just analyzing all of that data, going through the background information and seeing what has come out of it. The first couple of weeks are always a learning phase, and then we adjust and tweak to really get the ground moving forward. And then making those recommendations on how we can adjust and tweak as we go. So those are really the first steps that we take. This is a helpful tool. Like I said, it's not for every organization. We do customize this, and I think it could be valuable to do a step process and just kind of lay out by date exactly what the goals are and how we're going to achieve them and the timeline. But this is something that I like to utilize and thought would be interesting to share. If you have any questions on that, let me know. Okay, so here we have Content Cal. Content Cal is a website tool that I use. I would say I probably spend, 80% of my time in this tool, and it allows me to plan and execute social media content. It gives a very seamless experience when working with third parties. So with my clients, I'm able to notify them when there's a post that's ready to be approved or reviewed. It allows me to plan things in advance and see a month overview of all the content that we're writing. It's just a really useful tool. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look into this. This is a calendar of one of our clients that has allowed us to be an example today. So shout out to Camp Tall Timbers. They're a summer camp in West Virginia, and they host kids ages 8 to 17. And we do a lot of their marketing for them on their website as well as social media. So that's going to be our example today. So we're looking at a week-long view. Currently, you can see it's a Thursday to Wednesday. And essentially, I have created posts And these are all in different parts of the cycle. So we'll start down here. I've created this post to go out today, and it's actually already been published. You can tell because it's in like this navy color. And I can write that if you click start post here, new post here, and you can type your content, you can add media and pictures and things, and you can schedule a time. So let's say 15. Okay. And then you hit add post, and it's just as simple as that. So in this light blue color, that means it's a draft. You can see that this is also a draft and this is also a draft right now. So that means it's not going to go out on social media. This dark navy color, as I mentioned before, means it already has gone out. And the only way for something to get posted is if it's in this green color. Now, we get to this green color after submitting for approval to the client, which is this orange color. So this orange lets us know that I'm waiting for the client to review this post to let me know if it is sufficient to go out on social media. This is great for if you are going to run social media for your organization and you need your boss or someone above you to check out the content and make sure it aligns with your strategy. This tool allows us to send a notification via email, and they can go right in and look at the post directly. It's a really seamless experience. So we've got navy is going out, green is approved, waiting to go out once the time comes, and orange is waiting for approval. And then the draft form as well. You can do this for all channels. So what's nice is if you scroll down, we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then we also have what's called Google My Business, which is a Google tool that we can go over later in this discussion. So makes it really simple. You don't even have to think about it. After you've created the content and got it all approved, it will automatically post for you if it's in this approval color and it's ready to go. If we didn't have this tool, I'd be spending a lot more time manually going to each page and posting them myself. So I'm very grateful to have this tool. Another neat feature is we have this pin board over here. These are things that we haven't used yet that maybe I want to use in the future, or if we had something planned, you can click and drag them over here and save it for a later date if your strategy has changed. So just another little piece of the puzzle. Okay, so next up we have Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a tool that is connected to the back end of a website through some complicated code that I have my team help me connect. But as you can see, keeping up with Camp Tall Timbers, this is the Camp Tall Timbers Google Analytics page. So let's go through some of the highlights. This really allows us to get a better idea of what some of the behaviors are for visitors on our website. As you can see, we have a general overview here over the last 90 days, including some green up arrows to show that 90 days over the prior 90 days, we are trending upwards, which is a great sign. Broken down by users and how many times they visited, as well as how quickly either they jump off the website through an external link and how long they spend on the website. All right, let's take a look at acquisition. So basically this breaks down where your visitors are coming from. Gives you a nice little pie chart to look at, your user counts over a certain range of dates, and primarily the best information on this page is going to be all of the different locations that they come from. Direct traffic is going to be people who typed in your URL to your website in the search bar or saved bookmarks. So anything directly, they're not Google searching, they're just putting in your website, okay, in their address bar. Display is display ads. So this particular organization pays for ads on Google. Display ads are ads that actually show up on other websites. So if you've ever been on a website before, let's say you're on Macy's and you're looking for a winter coat and you end up on another website, but you get an ad for a winter coat on the side of your browser. Those are going to be display ads. They are at a cost because they are paid advertising, but a useful tool either way. Organic search is when you go to Google and you search summer camps, that would be an organic search if Camp Tall Timbers came up in that listing. Social media is obviously coming from a social post, whether it's a link to your website in a post, or if they went to your page on social media and clicked on the website from there. Paid search is going to be that Google search, but if you're paying for advertising with Google, your website could show up higher. I'm sure you've been on Google before where you've seen it says ad next to the URL. That is actually going to be a paid search feature. And then referral is, if we click right here, any other websites that have your link to your website. So if it's a blog and they reference you and then they link to your website, that's going to be considered a referral. Audience. Audience is a really helpful tool. It allows us to see an average number of users for your site, as well as like certain days, how many users there were. And we like to try to draw conclusions. If you did an interesting social post, and there were way more users on one day than another, it's all really interesting correlated data. So this page overview shows us how many total users for a span of time, as well as how many of those users, what percentage of those users had never been to the site before. You can see this is a really high percentage of new users, which is great for when you're selling a product. Sessions, obviously how many times they visited the site over these amount of users, how many average sessions, the page views, and then the duration. If you come down here, you can also break it down by demographic, by country and city. There are some privacy rules now that if someone opts out of being able to show their locations, we can't get all of that data. But if someone has elected to allow this data to be collected, then it will be shown here. So it is a little bit of a skewed data, but it is helpful nonetheless. And then if you do look on this left sidebar, we're not going to go through all of these, but you can see active users, it does break it all down to an even further level. So if you're looking for a very specific audience, and if you're tweaking your marketing plan based on this audience, this is a really helpful way to find out what people's behaviors are. And the last one we're going to go over is behavior. So behavior allows you to see where exactly all of these visitors are going to, what pages, right? So as you can see, this first one is a slash. That is actually just our home page. So that does carry the most of the weight for page views. But then we do have a virtual open house experience sessions, and you can really get an idea of where people are going when they come to our website. And it's great that sessions is very high because that's obviously what the camp is hoping to get customers to buy into. The behavior flow allows us to see, okay, so they came in on one page, on the landing page, on the, let's say, open house experience. Where did they go from there, right? So this breakdown allows you to see where they went next and if they left the site after that or if they continued onto another page. So it's a very interesting part of this tool. So a big part of what I do is work on organization newsletters. So email marketing campaigns are ways that we can use a list of emails that we have collected either by being a customer or a member of an organization or some kind of contact with this outside visitor, and we have their email and we want to stay in contact with them. This particular tool actually, coincidentally, is called Constant Contact. It's an email marketing campaign tool that allows you to schedule and create email blasts. Specifically, we use it to create templates so that they're easily editable, and we use them on a monthly basis. Okay, so let's take a look. This is the homepage for Constant Contact. There are several other email marketing campaign tools that people like to use. For example, MailChimp, Zoho. There's quite a few. We just really like Constant Contact. I think it is very user-friendly and the templates are very editable. So it's important for us to be able to give that customized email newsletter experience for each client. So we particularly like Constant Contact. So that's the example I'm going to have today. So looking at this homepage here, you can upload individual lists. So we use lists of contacts in order to target specific groups of people within the organization. So let's say if you have an organization that has membership tiers, okay, you can categorize your list of people by all the gold members, all the silver members, so on and so forth. That way, if you have special emails for each membership tier, or let's say you want to do an upgrade opportunity for a certain membership tier, going from silver to gold, you can send a specific targeted email to that group of people. So those lists are a great way to categorize different groups of people. So this is the total contacts. This is an average email open rate. Contact growth every 90 days. It's as you add people. This is important to know. If your website is streamlined with Constant Contact, you can actually connect the two, and people who fill out a form on your website can automatically be added to an email list. So if they sign up for an automatic email monthly newsletter or anything like that, that's a helpful way to see how many people are joining your lists. And then if you have your social connected, you can see how much your social has grown as well. We don't use that tool in this as much because we do have our individual reporting, but if you wanted to have it all in one place, that's a great way to do that. As you can see, all the recent campaigns are listed below. I have 2 campaigns running right now for this particular group. So we're targeting 2 different kinds of people, and we send out multiple touches on a scheduled basis. So if we take a look, this one is to highlight the camp brochure. So we've created this with a photo and some content, as well as including a brochure that's clickable, and any other information they need to contact the camp. Let's go ahead and look at how you can edit this. All right, so you'll start a new one. We're actually copying a template, so I saved this as test. And this is the template that I used for sending out the brochure that I just went over. As you can see, it's really simple. You can click and drag different features straight into your email blast. You can add text. You can save media to a media library. So when you add images, it's really easy to place them in place, add a button here, and that can be directed to your website. That can be directed to a landing page. Maybe you're running a promotion for something specific that you want people to go to. And it's really just extremely customizable. Sorry, I'm sliding down a little too much here, but it is very user-friendly and very seamless. So let's say we've added everything we wanted to add here. We're going to go ahead and hit save. You can check for errors. What that's going to do is show you if you're missing, you have a button here and maybe you didn't link it to the website. It'll realize that you haven't put a link where you probably meant to, and it'll let you know. You can send a test to see what it'll look like in your email, and you can actually schedule it to go out at a specific time and at another date. So you don't actually have to send it out. You don't have to come to Constant Contact and send it out. It's all automated, which is awesome. You'll be choosing your lists here. You can add a subject line, a pre-header. It's all customizable. We use the general camp email to have it sent from. And then you can pick your time and what time you'd like it to go out. Now, there are many ways you can utilize Constant Contact. Of course, today I just talked about using it for general newsletters. We also can use it for collecting information, maybe giving our customers a poll and encouraging them to engage and have a say in something that we're pushing forward, as well as reminding people that we have events coming up. That's a really big one that I like to utilize. We're able to reach out to them and say, hey, you haven't signed up yet. Please jump in and join us for this particular event. So it is a very flexible tool and perfect for email marketing campaigns. We are providing to you our integrated marketing plan template. And essentially what this is a document that allows you to plan out your month in that editorial calendar style way. I find that when I organize my months for my clients this way, it is really easy to stay on track and track those goals and making sure you're hitting all of those highlights that you want throughout the month. We all have a lot going on. This allows us to jump back in and continue that strategy when maybe we're really busy and we aren't sure where we left off. It's a really easy way to accomplish that. So you can see it's broken down by day, and then each day could have a theme. Of course, not every day is going to have something. It just allows us to see the month at a glance, the themes and the action items. Do you need to schedule a meeting with a particular organizer for an event? Are you going to post on social a reminder to sign up for something, or that you need volunteers? All of these action items can be listed here. And then who's your target audience? Is it those volunteers? Is it people that we need to sign up for the actual event, paid ticket people? And where is that going to go? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We do usually an X or a check in these sections. So it's easy to look over and see, oh, I've had X amount of Facebook posts or Instagram posts or emails go out. Some of these days will have multiple check marks, of course. If you're going to each platform and posting it, and you're writing a blog, and you're sending an email, you could have checks all the way across the board. But it's easy to see where you are planning for each touch point and what the theme is going to be. So that is our gift to you. Easy to edit, easy to work with. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to me. So I'm sure many of you have heard of the Adobe Suite. Now, it is quite an extensive library of programs that help people across the board with all kinds of digital design stuff. Everything from creating animation to just graphic design to video editing and so on and so forth. So there is quite an extensive list of Adobe programs, and I encourage you to go check out the full list. This is just an overview of some of the ones that I utilize often. Now, there are other programs that can replace these as well. Adobe Programs work well with Mac, so that is generally why I utilize them. But there are some that if you have a Windows computer or just a different preference or a different price point, then these aren't necessarily the only programs that can do these features, but these are just what I prefer. Now, what we see here is just the logos. So I often work in InDesign. Basically what InDesign is, it's a desktop publishing and page layout software that can create posters and flyers and brochures, magazines and things like that. So all graphic design work can be done here. Premiere Pro is a video editing software that I utilize quite often. Again, there are many, many, many video editing softwares, but this is what I prefer. I edit short clips. I can reformat clips to be on different social channels. So on Instagram, whether it's the square or for stories, or if I'm reformatting for YouTube or for Facebook, it's a really nice tool. I think we've all heard of Photoshop at this point. Photoshop is a photo editing software. You can edit graphics as well and any digital art that you may have. I believe it's pretty self-explanatory there. Then Adobe Acrobat is actually just a tool to view, create, and print PDFs. So anything can be edited in there. We can add things for signature, just a PDF working software. So like I said, Adobe has a ton of different programs. To name some of the others: Adobe Illustrator, After Effects, Dreamweaver, that's actually for website design. There's endless programs for them, so definitely go check out the rest of them. So we went over a lot of tools today, and some more in depth than others. And while these are some that I use often, these aren't the only tools that I use, of course. For example, we talked about Constant Contact today, but there's also HubSpot, there's MailChimp. We talked about Content Cal today. There's also Hootsuite and Sprout Social. I think each one has its own unique features that can be helpful for you. You just got to find which ones fit the best. Well, thanks for watching today. I'm sad this wasn't able to be live, so hopefully I'll be able to talk with you all soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can shoot me an email, erin@sassyagency.com, or go ahead and let Michelle know and she can contact me, or visit our website. We have a lot of interesting resources on there as well, sassyagency.com. Thank you so much. Have a good day.